Greetings, everyone. Welcome to this short video talking about this new course for the SEG Continuing Education Program titled Effective Scientific Writing. The material from this course has already been taught at various institutions around the world, including Princeton University in the US, Ontario Tech University in Canada, and King Abdullah University or KAUST in Saudi Arabia. The intended audience for this course is mostly PhD students and postdocs who are new to the art of scientific writing, or anybody who struggles with scientific writing and who have to write research articles, proposals, and technical reports, theses, etc. So the motivation for developing this course is twofold. One is what is called the reader-centered approach to scientific writing, and the other is a vocabulary to discuss writing. So let's quickly talk about these two concepts and why are they important. So think about the time when we were first asked to write an article in English, probably during our primary school. We were given a topic which may be a popular figure in our country or an important historical event, and we were asked to write an essay on this. So what we will do is we would go to a library or probably online, and we would collect all the necessary information that is needed to write an essay on the topic. And we would hope that if we put together the article in a good enough way, we would get an A or A+ and avoid C or D or bad grades, right? So all the focus during that period was on the writer, that is you, and you were thinking that what should I do and what I shouldn't do, for example, to avoid bad grades, right? So it was the case because we were thinking in our head that we were writing to an authority who knew a lot more about the topic than us, and we wanted to demonstrate, let's say, that we know 20 to 30% of their knowledge, and hope that when we put together that piece of information, maybe it's not in the perfect location, but still that person would be able to understand what we want to convey. And exactly that's what happened, because we were trying to demonstrate to somebody who already knew a lot about the topic. Now, in professional writing, we're writing for readers who know nothing or very little about our research, for example. And our task is now not anymore to demonstrate, but to inform them about what we have done and why is it significant, right? But still, particularly young writers, they still struggle with this because everything is clear to them. And when they write, it's almost incomprehensible to a new reader, because that reader has not done that journey, has not done those experiments, has not seen those results, has not analyzed those results. So their needs are different than somebody who's an authority of the topic would have, right? So that's one aspect. The other is vocabulary to discuss writing. So think of the time when you're a graduate student, for example, you're working in a lab, for example, doing experiments and generating new results, and you're excited about it. One day you find some results that seemingly are very novel, and probably you take it to your advisor hoping for a pat on the back, and you show them to your advisor, and your advisor says, well, that's great. I guess you are now ready to write your first paper. And your excitement turns into a bit of sorrow, and you're like, well, okay, I have to do this job, but somehow I don't know, how can I tell my advisor? And your advisor assumes, given that everybody in your lab has written their first paper by themselves, your advisor assumes that you would also write your own paper by yourself, and you think probably there's something wrong with me that I don't know how to write papers, but I'll go and figure it out. And this is an unfortunate situation in academia, that we offer technical courses to develop our knowledge in those areas that we need for success in our scientific careers, but somehow we are not taught how to write science, how to do scientific writing, and somehow we are assumed that we already know how to be a good writer, right? And this happens because even though our advisors are already very good at scientific writing, they have gone through this iterative process of submitting their manuscript to their advisor and getting feedback. And if you do enough times, you would learn how to be a good writer. But that's a slow way of learning. That's not a good way of learning. And this happens because in science, we don't have a vocabulary to discuss writing. So if I give you two papers, you can say, well, this one is well written and this one is poorly written because this one reads well. I can understand the concepts explained. I can understand the argument. Whereas in the other one, it seems like it's always a struggle. I have to go back and forth. But it's very hard to say specifically in specific terminology why this one is easier to read and why this one is difficult to read. So it's really hard for senior scientists in academia to train or to pass on that information to junior scientists how they could write better. And this is what we attempt to do in this course by teaching attendees a vocabulary to discuss writing and how they could discuss papers and analyze them deeply and find out, let's say, what's missing in a paper and what makes a paper, for example, or what makes part of your paper difficult to read and so on and so forth. Okay, so the course description in short brief is about writing process. So we try to develop an effective writing process for participants and manage its various steps, which include starting from the drafting stage to the revision stage, and we try to understand what are the different steps we need at each stage to be able to complete a well-written paper. The second thing that we discuss in detail is the reader's expectations approach. So we examined reader expectation by analyzing responses to one another's writing at different levels. So readers may have some expectations from a paragraph, and they have different expectations from sentences. They have some other expectations from different sections. So we try to understand all of these expectations by reading some text and trying to understand how we as readers react to text and how can we connect that reader within us to the writer within us. So we all know when we have difficulty in reading text, and when some text flows really well, we can easily say that, you know, this is good writing, but how can we inform the reader within us and connect it with the writer within us so we can inform the writer within us. So the last part is the revision. So we develop strategies to actually, now that we understand what are the problems with our paper or different parts of our paper, how can we effectively revise those sections to make them appear better or read better for our readers. So that's essentially the course description, and the learning outcomes for participants will be to understand the structure of scientific and technical documents, to develop an effective planning process for manuscripts. If you're writing papers, or if you're writing your thesis, or you're writing a proposal, you know how you can develop an effective planning process from start to the end. And that you're also able to motivate and persuade a scientific audience, right? That's also very important. And also revise sections of research articles effectively. So all of these things will be what you can get if you attend this course. All right, so that's all about the course. Feel free to contact me if you have questions. Thank you so much.